Today we have an amazing guest with us. So we have Regina Andler, who's an AI-empowered business strategist who helps coaches and consultants differentiate themselves and attract more clients using her proprietary method, the unicorn factor. Regina has over 20 years hands-on entrepreneurial experience, and she is also an Amazon best-selling author. With her Autumn Ascent consulting company, she helps her clients avoid the mistakes that she has made, and she helps them stand out. Now, how all of this ties together with AI and what are the mistakes that she's helping people avoid that she has made herself, and all her amazing ascent from the early beginnings in her career and what an amazing way she turned to come to where she is today. Listen in. Hello and welcome back everybody to the World of AI podcast. We have a very special guest today. Welcome, Regina.
Thank you for having me here.
And of course, we are here also with our co-host, Andre. Welcome back, Andre.
Hello, everybody.
Awesome. So let's first of all start introducing Regina, okay? So because Regina is a powerhouse, she's amazing, okay? And we do a lot of AI talk today, but of course I want to make sure that everybody understands where Regina actually comes from, what's her background, right? And so that you actually get a little bit of context on what she has to say. So Regina, let's start out. I did see in your biography, you actually started in the corporate world at one point and in the tech field. Like, what were you doing there?
I actually started out way back when. We're talking, we're just going to say a long time ago, as a computer programmer. COBOL mainframe computer programmer. That tells you how long ago it was.
Oh yeah, it's I didn't learn that at the university, but now it's very valuable for a lot of people.
That's true.
That's true, yeah, it is.
It is awesome.
And after I got into the programming, I kind of fell into computer support, and then I went into technical management, technical project management, all kinds of things. So my corporate world days were basically full of all kinds of different tech.
Wow. So how did you then end up as an entrepreneur? Because you have done a lot, right? You have more than 20 years of experience in the corporate, as an entrepreneur actually, after your career in the corporate. And you have done a lot of things. Like you had a brick-and-mortar business, you had online businesses, you had multi-level marketing businesses. So how did that happen? Tell us a bit about your journey there.
I'll try to give you the short version of that story because it could go on for a while. What happened was I was in main corporate world until about the year 2000. In that year, my dad got sick, and my mom and dad lived a couple hours away from me. And when he got sick, I decided to quit work so I could take care of my parents. My dad was my mom's full-time caretaker at the time. Since he couldn't do it, I took it over. Well, Dad got better. And if you remember what was going on in tech back in 1999, 2000, it was the big tech crash. And for every tech job that was available out there, there was probably 1,000 or more resumes sitting on somebody's desk. And so when I went back and said, okay, well, I'm going to go back and maybe I'll do technical project management or do something, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, I started looking for a job. And there were none to be found. And so that was actually when I decided to start my first business, which was actually a computer repair business. And that computer repair business, we basically worked with homes and small businesses. And I worked that business for a little while. And then unfortunately in 2007, my dad passed. And when he passed, my mom came to live with myself and my husband in New Hampshire. And when she came to live with me, it didn't take long. Well, I lasted about 1.5 years or so after Dad passed when I realized I can't be a full-time caretaker and a full-time business owner with a brick-and-mortar business with employees and all this other stuff going on at the same time. And so at that point, I decided to sell my business, and I actually sold it for a loss. Lesson learned, big lessons learned. I sold it for a loss. So when people go, oh, you sold your business, great. I was like, yeah, I didn't make any money off of it. I actually lost money.
Jesus. It was 2008? It
was in 2009.
And yeah, that is, again, a crash in the finance world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and believe me, I felt it. So at that time, at this point, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur, because even when I had my computer business, what happened was it kind of fits into what I do today, which is a business strategist. What happened is we worked with homes and small businesses, and I was sitting in a small business one day working on their server, and I'm overhearing the owners of this company, and they're talking about this problem that they're having with their business. And I'm sitting there fixing the computer, and I'm thinking, wow, I have some suggestions for them. I could probably help them with this. I know a lot about business now. And I'm listening to them, and I get done, and we finish up doing our stuff. And I said, I kind of overheard you guys talking, and would you like a couple suggestions that might be helpful? And they're like, oh yeah, anything. At this point, we're anything. And so I gave them some suggestions, and they were like, oh my gosh, didn't even think of that. And then they implemented my suggestions. And then after that, they call me for stuff. And I basically instantly became a business consultant in that moment. I wasn't planning on becoming a business consultant. I just kind of fell into it. I was planning on having a computer business. And so I sold that computer business, and then my mom moved in with me. While she was with me, I actually started a couple other businesses and then dabbled in, we'll just say, a bunch of different multi-level marketing companies. And once we got done with all of those, and in 2013, my mom passed. And after she passed and everything was settled, I said, at this point, I was 50 years old in 2013. And I said, well, what do I want to be when I grow up? I'm at a crossroads. What do I want to do? I've got all of this experience. I've had my brick and mortar business. I've done MLMs. I've done traditional jobs. I can go back into the workforce again. What do I want to do? I really honestly didn't know. So I took some time and started thinking about it. I actually started fixing computers again for a little bit because it was something interim. And lo and behold, kind of fell back into business consulting. It was kind of like the universe going, no, you're a business consultant, go do that. Because every time I started doing something else, I'd meet with somebody and we always ended up in a conversation about their business, and I would help them fix their business. And so I decided that when I turned 60, so remember, I'm in my early 50s at this point, I decided that when I turn 60, I'm going to start my consulting business. It's going to be my retirement business. And I was all ready and rearing to go. I actually was doing some side work for a company at the time. They hired me on as a contractor to be a technical project manager. So I was doing that. And I said, this is great. Kind of all leads into, I'll, get my business started. I'll start ramping it up maybe when I'm like 58-ish or so. And I'll start ramping things up. And then COVID happened. So go figure, 2020 comes along and COVID happens. And it was actually a really funny story how Autumn Ascent Consulting, my current business, how it actually got started. It is my retirement business, and it got started a couple years early. And it did that because I was on the phone with a friend who was another entrepreneur, business owner, and we were having a conversation, and I was like, yeah, I'm not sure, I'm going to start this when I'm 60, and I'm going to do this. And I'm like laying out everything that I'm going to do with my business. And he goes, so Regina, when are you going to start your business? And I said, well, it's a couple more years. I'm going to start it when I'm 60. It's my retirement business. And I'm on a Zoom call with him. He looks me in the eyes in the camera, and he goes, no, seriously, Regina, when are you starting your business? And I just sat back and I cracked up laughing. I said, apparently I'm starting it now.
That's good. Good decision.
And that
Yes.
was the beginning of Autumn Ascent Consulting.
Awesome. And so you just recently also launched a book, right? The Unicorn Factor. It's about your Unicorn Factor methodology, and it is an Amazon bestseller as well. So definitely go check it out, the Unicorn Factor. Maybe share us a little bit about that. Like, how did that methodology come up, and how are you using it today, and how did you feel about your book and your book launch?
That was a whole bunch packed in there. Okay, let's unpack that. Well, the first thing is, how did the Unicorn Factor come to be? So when I started really getting into business consulting, I found something that it was kind of a big pet peeve, that it was this thing, it just bothered me that all of these consultants were doing. And it was all of these gurus who were out there teaching and teaching people how to start their business, run their business, make it more successful, get into the six-figure club, or the whatever comma club you want to be in, or all that kind of stuff. And When you looked at all of their stuff, they said, here's my templates, here's my funnel, here's my stuff. And all you need to do is put your logo on it, put your name on it, and put it out there. And it's never been me. I've never been, a lemming. I'm not going to follow everybody off the cliff. I'm going to be myself and be authentically me. And so I kept seeing this over and over and over again. And it got to the point where I was looking at people's stuff that I was getting, because, whatever you do, you end up attaching yourself to all these people and get emails and stuff shows up on social media and you see all their stuff. And I got to the point where I could actually tell who they trained with, because it was all cookie cutter. And that was my big pet peeve. I was like, why are people looking like everybody else? Why would you want to look like everyone else? And so I started basically kind of a campaign for myself and for my clients going, no. I will give you guidelines. I will support you. I will strategize with you, which is why I call myself a strategist and not even a consultant or a coach. I said, I will help you find you, and we will build your business for you, not the way I want it built, the way it should be built for you based on who you are. And I was actually at a mastermind with my mentor a couple years ago, and we were sitting there talking about this, and I said, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm training people. I'm finding that people are really interested in this because they're really getting it. They're following other people's templates and they're like, yeah, well, they worked great for that person, but they didn't work so great for me. And I spent all this money on this, and trying to be them isn't working for me. And so I was on this mission now. And so I'm at this mastermind, and little fun tidbit about me is since I was 16 years old, I have been collecting unicorns. And so we were sitting there one day in the mastermind talking about it, and I said, yeah, it's all about being authentic, being real, being unique. It's the unicorn factor. That was where the name of the methodology was born.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, your story, and I really like the story because I resonate with the story. It's always, I'm also working as a business strategist and have a lot to do on this side as well. And mostly the clients are struggling if they are not clear what their mission is and what they can do on the daily basis for their client. So they are searching for some solutions in the outer world, but the solution is in them. They already have the solution, and we as business strategists have to unfold the solution. That it's become clear.
That is so true, because people don't realize that they go looking external for this information. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go look external, because most of us, when we're getting started, when we're doing stuff, we don't look inside. We go, I don't know how to do this. I need somebody to help me. And that's where, the business coaches, consultants, strategists, that's where we come in. We come in to help you figure out where it is that you want to go. And depending on who that consultant is, I mean, I love the way you do yours as well, because it's all about being real. It's about being you. And it's not about being like everybody else, because if the reality is that if you have 5, we'll just say business consultants, if you have 5 business consultants and they were all trained by the same, we'll just say guru, and the same guru trained these 5 consultants. So no matter what, it's apples, 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 apples. They all look exactly the same. At that point in the marketplace, if people see these 5 people and that's the 5 that come up, now they're going, okay, who's the cheapest? They don't care which one it is. They all do the same exact thing. And yet when you stand out from the crowd, when you find that thing that makes you unique, now it's different, because you aren't like them. You do it your way. And that actually lets them know that, hey, my value that I provide to you is actually worth more, and working with me is going to help you further you along, instead of just making you a cookie cutter of somebody. So that's where people like us that like to do things different and find that unique, authentic core of our clients, We need more consultants like us out there. We need more people like us. The world's a really big place. I don't compete with anybody because there's more than enough people in this world. So there's more than enough people, but we need more of us out there helping people be their authentic self instead of being little mini-me's.
Yep.
And now there's a funny twist. Now we have AI coming in the game. And we see a lot of like, hey, let's just copy paste everything from ChatGPT, right? How does this play out with your business? Do you use AI? Like, to what degree? Like, maybe share a little bit on that.
So bouncing back to the first question there, and we'll pull back in the book. So in the book, I do have a little snippet that talks about creating unique content in AI. And the first line in that chapter says, unique content and AI. Oxymoron? Because you would think that it's AI. How can you create unique content with AI? If you know how to talk to AI, you know how to prompt AI, you'd be surprised the unique responses that you can get out of it. Again, I love this piece of it, and I love the way the unicorn factor fits into it, because out in the AI world right now, how many people are out there saying, hey, download these prompts, download this, download that, and they all look the same. And it's like, will you stop downloading everybody's prompts and learn how to actually prompt? And then once you do that, you can create your unique prompt that is actually going to create your unique content. So even with AI, you can create unique content with AI.
Yeah, and that's also a kind of communication skill. So every business owner need to have communication skills to get the message to the world. And also with the AI, if I have the communication skill to talk to the AI the right way, I get the right content, I get valued feedback from the AI. It's all about asking the right question, as in the normal world as well, not also in with the computer.
A lot of people get confused and they think AI, because when AI gives them a response, it kind of sort of sounds kind of humanish. And they're like, well, I just can tell it, hey, go do this. And it's like, you know what? It needs a little bit more information than just go do this, because it is a computer. I'll tell you, when AI first really started, I mean, AI has actually been around for a long time. When it started becoming mainstream, we'll say, of course, I jumped on that bandwagon, being an ex-programmer and ex-tech. I jumped right on. I was like, oh, this is so cool. So just like everything else that I do, I look at it from a different perspective than a lot of people do, because I look at it through those tech lens, through those programming lens, and I'm like, it's AI. Somebody programmed that tool. So whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Jasper, Gamma, Perplexity, whatever tool you're using for whatever you're using it for, somebody in the background actually wrote that program that's doing that.
Absolutely.
And in the tech world, as we know in the tech world, the saying is garbage in, garbage out.
That's correct. With the right basic software behind it, or the right setup of the AI, I can put my thoughts into the AI as well, so I get the better answers, and nobody else gets this answer. So I already had the experience. The same I had with ChatGPT. One of my clients enters the same sentence, because I enter the sentence into his ChatGPT, and I was really shocked what was the answer from ChatGPT. It was so bad. I was thinking, what's happened? Because I was used to ask the right question. But this ChatGPT version from him wasn't trained. And there were so much lessons I gave my AI missing, so that the AI didn't train about to answer the right the question right.
That's so true, because even when I put the book out there, I actually loaded my book into AI and basically said, this is how I talk, because I wrote the book. And I didn't use AI to write the book. I wrote the book. And I said, so you're picking up my style, you're picking up the way my conversation, there's some humor based in there, here and there. So it kind of got my style on how I do. So I'll tell, here, write it in the style of this. Or even if there's somebody out there and I really like how they structure their stuff. So going back to the, hey, we don't want to be the little mini me, but this person, they get a lot of good response based on how they structure their emails or something like that. You can go into AI and say, use this person's writing style. And so it's still yours, it makes it yours. However, they fill in it with their writing style. So now it actually sounds more, it sounds like you, but it still has those key aspects. So you're still getting more attention than you would just, writing it generically.
Totally. So modeling what works, right? That's a big thing. And I think this is where people sometimes get it wrong in terms of, is that copycatting or is this still authentic, right? So I think people have sometimes a little bit skepticism, like, if I do that, is that infringement? Is that, can I do that? What's your point on that?
Modeling and copycat are two different things. So copycat is, you know what, Mona, you wrote a great email and you got so much great response to that. I'm going to take exactly what you wrote and basically put my name on it, put my program on it, and I'm going to send it out to the world. That's me copycatting you. Me modeling you is using the format. So say you have a certain structure. It starts out with, something humorous and goes into a question and, has some bullet points or something like that. I'm modeling your format. I'm not copying you and just putting my name on it. So there's two different things there. Modeling's okay. Copying, not so much.
And the system will become better with modeling because I get the basic of the model, and I can also put some other parts from other models as well, so that I get a better version of myself, of my AI as well.
Don't you just love AI? I mean, I absolutely love it.
Me too. Me too. And I think another big aspect that people underestimate big time is how much you as a user learn by actually letting a tool like ChatGPT dissect something and say, show me what the model actually is that they used. And then you see, okay, look at this. They say thanks, then they say an objection, then they give a solution. And so you understand the structure. So you also become a better business person, a better objection handler, a better salesperson, right? Just because you understand what other people do, which would have taken you years of training, hours of time looking at it, and now you just put it in, and in 2 minutes you have, not even like 10 seconds, you actually have the result, and you can see what the other person was doing and why it works so well.
Right. And with AI, there's so many things. It saves people so much time because, there's so many things you can do with it. One of the things I talk to my clients about all the time is doing their research because, when it comes down to things, you do want to do your research and make sure that you're on top of things, whether it's current trends or statistics or whatever it is that you're doing. And I use Perplexity AI a lot for research because that's what it's built for. And people are like, well, why can't I just go to Google and just Google it? Well, you can. And then you have to parse through every single thing that comes up, including all the junk and all the sponsored junk and everything else. Or you can go to Perplexity, put a question in there, and not only will it summarize the information for you, it will cite all the sources that it came from. So if you want to go in and find out more information, there you go. It makes research time, go down to a minimal. So it's so much faster to get something done.
And getting a special AI for a special job is a very good idea. A lot of my clients are I use only ChatGPT, or I only use the Microsoft stuff, the Google, whatever. And then I ask, okay, but that is a special task. But I have an AI. The AI can do that. And I say, no, you also have different employees for different tasks. So why do you not using different AIs? They are trained to do that. I really like that.
True.
I do the same thing. I've done some research for some stuff when I was researching some stuff for the book. There's a section in there on creating content for social media. So I was looking for some stats on, what the social media, how much content and all this other stuff out there. So where did I go? I went to meta.ai. Because I figured if I want answers about what Facebook, Instagram, and Threads are doing, why don't I just go to the source and ask the AI there? Because I'll probably get a better answer. And I did. I got really good answers when I was doing research. And I know you said you use ChatGPT a lot. My favorite go-to right now is Claude. I use Claude AI because, and I use both. I actually subscribe to both of them. And what I find awesome about it is that I'll go to Claude. I usually go to Claude first, and I put whatever it is that I'm putting out there, and then I'll copy and paste the prompt, and I'll put it into ChatGPT, and you get two completely different answers. And what I find is that when I combine those answers, or I combine the information from both of them, I get exactly what I'm looking for that's unique to me. So instead of, you guys know, it's, you never, ever, ever copy and paste something directly from AI. You go in and check it and make sure it's okay, make sure it's in your voice, change some stuff around, that kind of thing. What I find using the two of them together is that it creates a combination that is completely different from what everybody else is getting. So that's why I kind of tag team them.
If you create the combination of the answers, how you are doing that? You are also using AI for that, or you are just copy the pieces out of it and making your own text or your own content? How you are doing that?
I manually do that. It takes no time at all because, I have my ChatGPT up on one screen, I have Claude up on the other screen, I have a Word doc up on another screen, and I'm like, okay, I like that information from there, I like this information from here, I like this here, I'm going to change this around here, and I plop it into my Word doc, make my little changes, and I'm done.
Okay, great. I understand. I do the same, but I was really curious about it because I also have the experience that if I have an interesting subject and I work with the AI and writing some answers, get some new ideas, writing the next question, and so I go down the rabbit hole, and after a while I say, okay, I have some really good pieces on the way. Which piece was it? So right now I have opened up a Word document or something like that to copy it out because to save it.
Yeah, I'm here laughing because sometimes I pit the two of them together against each other because, I'll put something in Claude and I get an answer. I put something in ChatGPT and I get an answer. So maybe ChatGPT comes out with some other answer that is not even mentioned in the Claude stuff. So I'll go back to Claude, add another prompt on the same thread there. So I'll add another prompt in and say, what do you think about this idea? And I'll paste what ChatGPT said, and then it'll analyze what ChatGPT said. And it's really funny to pit them against each other and watch them go back and forth.
Yeah, I see. Really great. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Regina, where can people find you?
Well, they can find me all over social media. I actually have a Linktree account. For folks who know Linktree, it's linktr.ee/Regina Andler. Everything you want to know about me is out there. I've got a free 5-day email course out there it's called the Facebook Content Blueprint on how to create engaging content for Facebook. I've got a couple other freebies out there. The link for Amazon for the book is out there. All of my social links are out there as well. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm all over the place. And of course, there's always my website, which is also on the Linktree, which is www.autumnascent.com, AUTUMN. Everybody always forgets the MN. Ascent, ASCENT.com.
Awesome. So I'm going to also share the links also in the show notes. So guys, also check it out. Okay, I'm going to link them everywhere so that you can find them. Definitely do reach out to Regina. Again, you've heard it. She has a really solid business background, and on top, she knows how to use AI to get you some results, right? So it was really, really a pleasure to have you on today, Regina. Any final comments you want to share with the listeners?
When it comes to anything that you're doing in life or business, always show up authentically as you. You are the thing the world needs most is you and your authentic self. I call it unleashing your inner unicorn. So if you're showing up with a mask on and not acting as who you really are, it's time to take the mask off and show the world who you truly are and be authentically you.
Thank you very much. I really like that. Thank you that you were here with us.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely. We should have you back. Like, guys, put in the comments if you want to have Regina back. Let us know. We can invite her back on, right? Leave a like, leave a comment, put a share, like share somebody who needs to see that podcast, right? Who needs to see that information. With that, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And we see us back next week with another new awesome interview. Thank you so much, Regina. And as
Thank you for
always,
having me.
Andre, it was a big pleasure having you as well here as co-host.
Bye bye.
Bye.